Okay, so this is kind of a new concept for a painting. These are Garibaldi. Now, I'm going to use those as kind of correction. I can just switch them up. This is the transfer, and you can see at this point there's two here, and it's flip the paper to do the other side. Now I'm going to be doing a little bit of a demonstration on how to do seaweed. Now I use two pencils to do the stems. This is something I'm going to start in the bottom here and work my way up. This gives an equal and I could take off from this part here and now I'm going to do some other stuff on the side here. I'm going to probably erase this part so this is in front of the seaweed. I'm going to give a small demonstration on how I do seaweed. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of them, just a few. So I use that same distance. They're like giant green olives. Now I'm going to do that same technique or the flow. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So it's like a wave. Now, when I come from this side, I'm going to crisscross and it'll make it look like it's flowing in the water. So you can see it's twisting and turning. So I'm going to do another demonstration. But I'm going to change the direction. And you can see from that point. And I'm going to do some smaller ones on the side here. And the Garibaldi are going to be swimming in and out of them. So this is the next process of the painting of seaweed and Garibaldi. Garibaldi is a California state fish, and I'm working on the seaweed. And you'll see kind of different levels. Now this has more of a greenish tint, and I will continue to put different layers in the seaweed and layers of maybe some yellow over the. Now this young Garibaldi has like 3 or 4 colors. It has yellows, oranges, and reds, and I will continue to add more colors to enhance the orange. Now this juvenile has more of a pointy face, and I'll demonstrate on how to do a Garibaldi later, and on an adult which has more of a blunt face. And you can see they take on different levels. Anyway, so that is kind of the process that, and I'll do a demonstration on the seaweed also. Now I want to get something that to show you kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a painting I did a few years back. This is kind of what you can tell the distance. Seaweed is kind of a greenish tint because of the water. The close-up seaweed will be more of a brownish color, and you can see that there is deterioration and holes, and they're pretty beat up, the seaweed. And this is kind of and you can see through the seaweed down in here with the whales behind, and they'll be much larger in the Garibaldi painting. And like I said, I'll do an instruction of that, but just to give you a little heads up of some techniques. There's some pilot whales, all watercolors and techniques of how to do watercolors. So I'm going to do a demonstration on the seaweed. Okay, so you can see the crisscross patterns of the pencil. Now this will be kind of a little bit larger. So what I'm just doing is putting down a foundation layer. Now this will go over the, now I want to just kind of be a little bit random with the brush. So it'll let some holes in naturally. I have some kind of, now this is just the foundation. And I'm going to stop right about there. And now what I'm going to do is mix a little bit mix in some red oxide. Now I'm going to do a little bit darker here. This will kind of indicate that there's a shadow there between this and the crease, cutting off the sunlight to this. Now, the way I kind of form these seaweeds to make them look tubular, as I put the color down, come back in, and pull the color out. This makes it translucent, but also circular. Now I'll come in here with a fine brush and define the edge. Again, I'm going to show you again how to do that. And I'm going to come into the, I call them grape-like. So I'm just pulling the color out. Now I'll define the edges later. But this is where I come in and pull out colors. The kelp has a lot of layers and kind of a rough texture. So it's really bumpy and lumpy. So by just kind of coming in and pulling out colors. Now I'm doing it really fast. This takes a lot longer, but I'm giving you the essence of how this right here, you can see it's darker right here, and you can see the colors. Now, the way I get that, after it's kind of to a point where I got it to a finished product like this, I'll come in and just pull out and blend the surface with all those textures. By doing that, it'll give a roundness and a softness to the blends to make it look more realistic. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. And you can see the textures and the lightning, and they do have a little bit of little spikes on the edge. But this is a whole process, and the Garibaldi will eventually take different forms, because I have some juveniles in there and some adults, and the seaweed will continue to grow. Okay, so this is a very large piece, and there's no way I could get it to start to finish. So this is going to be a part 1 and part 2. And I'm going to just do a little demonstration. This is kind of, I'm going to zoom in here. Now, I would say most of this stuff in here is 50% anyway, because I'll tighten up things and make things look a little bit more presentable. But let me just give you a little demonstration how things work here. So I'm just gonna, they have these little appendages and little spikes on the edge. And this is kind of still way rough. There's going to be layers, and they're just random little spikes on the edges. They're not so uniformed. Anyway, so this is just a part 1. Hello, I'm Steve Melendres, a model maker, illustrator, scientific illustrator, sculptor, design after history museum in Los Angeles. Done a lot of different things, but I'm going to be doing watercolor demonstrations of the techniques I've developed over the years, and it's going to go from a lot of different directions. And also I'm going to be doing videos, I call them video posters for my daughter, so a lot of stuff that I can leave to my daughter about her crazy dad. So I'm taking a lot of different directions, but mainly 3. So anyway, that's my introduction that I'm going to attach to everything I'm doing now, so I don't have to repeat this. Be careful out there.